General Motors reveals another $3 billion in profits, and the UAW responds by striking one of the automaker's most important plants. Glad you're with us for Local 4 News at 5. I'm Devin Skillian.
I'm Kimberly Gill. Only a few hours went by between GM announcing its third quarter earnings and the union announcing its new strike target. The Arlington, Texas assembly plant employs about 5,000 UAW members. It makes highly profitable, full-sized SUVs such as the Cadillac Escalade, GMC Yukon, and Chevy Tahoe.
So now there are a total of more than 45,000 UAW line workers walking the picket lines. Business editor Rod Maloney live with a look at where this is all headed now. Rod.
Well, Devin, Kimberly, President Shawn Fain is turning up the heat, obviously, now 2 days in a row doing these kinds of walk-offs. It's day 40 of the strike, and if you remember back in 2019, that's as long as the strike lasted back then, and there's no end in sight in this one, although it's obvious both sides do want an end as soon as possible. 10 a.m. Eastern Time, the surprise announcement that just a couple of weeks delayed. Fain came very close to shuttering the Arlington SUV plant on October 6th, and even though GM made a new and larger offer on Friday that Fain seemed glad to see, it still wasn't enough, apparently. So outside the plant today, UAW Local 276 line worker Mike Janark said,
with the inflation going up 20%, your paycheck's getting a lot smaller. So pay up. That's all we're asking for. We just want a decent wage. That's all we're looking for.
Fain's statement went to the heart of the matter. GM's continued success makes his point. Quote, another record quarter, another record year. As we've said for months, record profits equal record contracts. It's time for GM workers and the whole working class to get their fair share, end quote. For its part, GM took today's big financial hit about as well as Stellantis did yesterday after losing its Sterling Heights assembly plant, saying in part in a statement, quote, we're disappointed by the escalation of this unnecessary and irresponsible strike. It is harming our team members who are sacrificing their livelihoods and having negative ripple effects on our dealers, suppliers, and the communities that rely on us. It is time for us to finish this process, get our team members back to work, end quote. Wayne State University business professor Dr. Merrick Masters tells Local 4 Fain is looking to close things out here.
This is a signal that he's getting impatient with the lack of progress and wants to bring this thing to a close, with workers at some sites having been out for nearly 6 weeks now.
General Motors is saying it's lost about $200 million a week. They say that they lost $800 million so far in their conference call this morning talking about their earnings. But the fourth quarter could bring much more losses, and that's one of the analysts that we talked to, Dave Whiston from Morningstar, is saying that he fears this strike could go through the end of the year. And with that to happen, it could cost General Motors billions of dollars. And certainly everyone that we've been talking to, Devin, says they'd like this thing to come to a close much sooner than that.
Audible sighs in the studio when you said end of the year. So, Rod, what is this doing then to the talks themselves right now?
Well, as we understand it, a source close to the talks yesterday told me that Stellantis immediately came to the table. They worked late into the night last night, that the activity with Ford is going quite well. You have to imagine that General Motors is in there looking to see what they've got to do to solve this thing. And there is the belief that there is active negotiating, but the issue of EVs and the joint ventures still remains a problem, because even yesterday, Fain said it's dead in the water, and he's not sure how that's going to go. So we're going to have to wait and see where this all shakes out.
Really tricky when we've had automakers say that that's as far as they can go, and then you find yourself going farther, and of course that opens a whole new can of worms. Boy, oh boy. All right, Rod.